welcome to Dramatic Knits. My name is Steve, also known as Dramatic Knits, and today is Monday, September 2nd, 2019. This is episode 338. If you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back. One more episode, and if you're new, hopefully you enjoyed today's episode and you'll come back in the future. As you can see, for those of you that are returning, I am flying solo this week, and we are a week later than anticipated. Unfortunately, Amanda did join me last Tuesday, and we recorded a full hour-plus episode to realize that it recorded with no sound. I'm trying to use a new microphone, and I did test it several times beforehand, but unfortunately it recorded with no sound, and there was not much we could do, and we were not up for recording immediately afterwards. So we were going to do the next night, and then we decided to push it back a week because we felt like it'd be a little bit more genuine rather than just kind of repeating what we had said the previous night. So we decided to record tonight, and then I asked her this morning if she was up for recording, and she's like, you know what? She goes, crafting really hasn't been my jam as of late. And she's like, I think you should just fly solo for a little bit. So we're going to give her that time. Amanda has asked to do a little bit of a hiatus from the show for a while. She's just not been finding the time to craft or the joy behind it. And we all go through spouts like that. So she'll join me when she's ready again. And until then, hopefully she, finds that crafty bug once again. So I am using the new microphone again. I noticed that the last episode, there was a weird reverberation basically off of my voice. Amanda was fine, but it had never done that before. So I had bought body mics, cheap ones, years ago, and I had the same issue. They were spotty. Sometimes they would record, sometimes they wouldn't. So hopefully this is actually recording, because if it isn't, you won't see it and you won't get this episode and we will just skip. I have some things to show you, some things to talk about, and let's just jump right in. So what's been going on in the past 2 weeks with me? 3 weeks, actually. So I think last we spoke, I was trying to remember now. Getting ready for Michigan Fiber Festival. So we went up to Allegan, Michigan and vended at the Michigan Fiber Festival for the third year. It was a good experience, much cooler than the previous 2 years. It still got warm on some of the days, but definitely cooler than the previous two. Enjoy that experience. They put most of the vendors into the big expo building where I've been all 3 years. It's got better ventilation, better lighting. You can see little Mr. Corndog trolling around back there. So it was nice to have the majority of the vendors in there. We drove back, and then I don't think much. Yeah, I don't think much. And then the next weekend we went back up to Michigan for the first ever Fall Harvest Days Fiber Festival, which is being attached to the Fall Harvest Days Festival in, what was the town? Now I can't even remember. It was somewhere. But basically it was attached to a festival that's a steam engine and like ag convention and old motors festival. It was not very well attended, let alone not attended for the fiber part. In fact, some of the staff didn't even know there was a fiber festival happening. I just don't think the word really got out. So we knew we were taking a chance on a first-time event. There were 12 vendors maybe. And we had a few sales, but it was a very long weekend. It was my birthday on Saturday, the 24th, so I turned the big 34. And to those of you who partook in the online sale, thank you so very much. We got all those orders out, helped clear out some inventory in the online shop. But yeah, it was an uneventful day for me. We vended and had a few people roam through. The weather was nice, but due to unforeseen circumstances, we had to pack up on Saturday night, and then we weren't able to vend on Sunday. But we did go to Olive Garden for my birthday. It's the big thing when, you've been with somebody for so many years. You don't really do much, and you go to a chain restaurant for your birthday, but did have a really good drink. I had a strawberry mango margarita, frozen. Delicious. Anyway, so we drove back on Sunday because it was about a 7-hour drive. And then we worked all week. And we had a trunk show at, where were we this past weekend? We were at Village Yarn Company in Zionsville, Indiana, which was a very good trunk show. Katie is such a wonderful store owner and proprietress of Village Yarn Company. It's a beautiful shop, and there's also a farmer's market that goes on just down the street, not even a block down the street from their shop. And Joanna and Bill of Knit Spin Farm, who does amazing self-striping yarns, bats, has a beautiful farm. They vend at the farmer's market with their fresh pasta and bread. And so we went down there as we did last year, and we got a loaf of bread and some basil pasta, or it might have been pesto pasta. I don't know, it's green. It doesn't taste like either of those things, but we're going to have that on Wednesday. I'm going to make some chicken Alfredo with it. So it was good to see them and chit-chat and catch up with them. They stopped by the trunk show when they were done packing up the farmer's market, so that was good times. And so we drove back on Saturday night after the trunk show, which was great. And then, yesterday, Sunday, we did about a half day and got some work done, shipped some orders. And then today I did a lot of shipping and dyeing. So it's been busy, but, nothing out of the norm. So let's get into the knitting, shall we? It is after dinner. My mom had us over for dinner. She made tater tot casserole, which she learned about from Andy. So she came over yesterday to verify that she had the directions right because she was worried about it. And I said, well, you inviting us over? So we went over so we didn't have to cook. But it's after dinner, so I get my pink drink, which I've told you this before, but my pink drink consists of Deep Eddy's lemon vodka, with 2 ice cubes. You put it to about there. Yeah, I know it seems like a lot, but it's got 2 ice cubes in there. And it's lemon. And then you take your favorite no-calorie strawberry lemonade, 0-calorie sparkling water. Mix the two. Delicious. And really good for diabetics. Because there's no carbs. All right, so what's taking about? I have a finished object. I'm really close on several, especially now that, we put off recording for a week, but still only finished this one. I finished this on the road last weekend when we were up in Michigan. I started this at the Super Summer Knit Together in Nashville in July for my class with Olga Baraya Keflian, or Olga Jazzy Knits on Ravelry and Instagram. And this was part of her brioche and tuck stitch class. This is Olga's design called the Reimei Cowl, Reimei. And it's one color brioche, but done in stripes of varying widths. It is stockinette, so it is not reversible, but you do get a cool texture on the inside as well. And yeah, I really like it. We recorded last week, and Mandy really wanted this. She is a Bears fan, and she really wanted it for the football season, so I gave it to her, but she gave it back to me to record. So you can see here it's a nice layering piece that you can fold over under your coat, but it's also a really nice length if you want a snugger cowl to then do that. And then you can have a nice squishy cowl. So Mandy was super excited. She's like, oh, I'm going to love this. And she's like, I can sneak my face right in there. So I wouldn't say I've mastered brioche, but I revisited it and we're now okay friends. We're acquaintances. We're not BFFs by any means. We're not hot and heavy for each other. But we're all right. We can see each other and nod when we pass each other in the halls. And this is Barocco Vintage Chunky in pumpkin and juniper, knit on a size 10 US 6mm needle. So that's that. And sorry if you hear any barking. It's life. Dogs are home. They see people walking around. I was actually going to let Andy watch TV down here. It's the opening game for Notre Dame, which is his college football team. He is much more of a college football fan than professional, though he watches both. But he is definitely a Notre Dame's fan. He grew up about 20 miles from South Bend, Indiana. So it's their first game tonight, but he went upstairs to actually watch it, so it wouldn't be so loud down here. I really hope the boys found a toy because I hear noise. And I'm like, I don't know what they're chomping on. What are you guys eating? They're just like kids. You yell at them and they get all quiet. Hopefully it's nothing dangerous. I don't know. All right. So what's performing this week? First up is my wrap design, which is almost done. I'm tentatively calling it That's My Jam wrap. And I had made, last time we spoke, I realized that I wanted to change where I was going with the design, because where I was going was only going to be halfway and it was long enough to be a wrap. So I decided to make some adjustments. And so this is using Leading Men Fiber Art Showstopper in Mary's Jam, which is the main color purple, and Fruit Salad, which is in a Showstopper gradient, which is one of our ensembles. So it's not a true gradient, but it is a color coordinated set. So yeah, they're playing because that's his play bark. Cornelius. So anyway, and this incorporates lace, garter stitch, and beads. So you start here, and you can see it's decently wide. And then we slowly transition colors. And we end with the orange. And then what I decided to do was to work in more beads and this mesh stitch, which will definitely open up at the end to revisit all the colors and do some smaller striping. So I'm on the 4th of 6 colors of the mesh, and then I'll do a double stripe of the garter to finish off the wrap, and then I'm done. So I just thought it would be a nice little end. It's not predictable, which this is very predictable, and then you're like, oh, what's at the end? It's something different. And I figured with the mesh but more beads than normal, it would give it a little bit more weight so that you can throw the mesh side over and it would kind of hold its place maybe a little bit more. That's my thoughts anyway. But this is being knit on a size 5 US 3.75mm needle. And I'm enjoying it. I can't complain. It'll take 2 skeins of fingering weight and 6 mini skeins to make this wrap. So once I finish it, then it's finding a tech editor that I want to work with and putting a call out for test knitters. I thought I would put a call out for test knitters before I finished it, and then I was like, you know what, Steve, you're not really a designer. So you don't know where you're going, which is good because I didn't, and I totally changed things. So I wanted to make sure that I had it done and the way I wanted it before I sent it to people to knit. So next up is my Alpine Blanket using Sidar Alpine in the Brindle colorway on a size 15 US 10mm needle. And I broke down. So I had 20 balls of this, but I did cast on about 150 some odd stitches. It's in my project notes on Ravelry, which is almost double what the blanket is supposed to cast on, but I'm happy with this width. But I was not going to be happy with the height of the blanket with only 20 skeins. So a lovely viewer, you know who you are, reached out to me via social media and said, hey, I'm not sure if you know this, but Darren Moore's, never heard of them. They're from the UK. is having a sale for like $3.49 a ball on this. And so I was like, I was like, yeah, thank you, but I wasn't really going to buy it because, I wasn't. But then I was like, you know what? If I'm putting this much money into a blanket that's kind of absurd because it's essentially really soft fun fur, I'm going to make it to the way I want it, right? Why invest that much money to not really love it? So I broke down and I bought another 10 balls. So this is going to be a 30 ball blanket. They're only like 39 yards each, but still. So I'm going to pull back so you guys can see the entirety. I want to say this is 18 of the balls. I might have joined the 19th. It's 18 or 19. But here it is so far. But as you can see, this is now on the floor, and it only comes up to here. So I'm hoping that it'll come up to about here when it is 30 balls. So I couldn't really deny buying another bag when I was getting it for almost half price what I would normally pay for it. So, and I think the shipping was reasonable, as like 5 something from the UK. It does take a little bit, it says up to 2 weeks, but it's fine. All right, next up, I'm almost done with 2. I should have it done by next time we record. And that is Verdun by Melanie Berg. I'm using Leading Men Fiber Art Show Steeler in Nude Scene, Poseidon, Dirty Truce, and Black Walnut. And I am on the final stretch, guys. I had just started the striping, I think, last time we spoke. And I have now been successfully decreasing, and I probably can finish this maybe in a night, a long night of knitting. But I just have to keep decreasing 1 stitch per row, alternating rows, until I finish out this corner. Here is where we are at so far. So you come over here, and you work the first 2 colors in stripes and expand out, and then you bring in the 3rd color and stripe in the 4th color, and then the 4th color is the dominant color and you stripe in the 3rd, and then you're supposed to switch back and do 3rd color striping 4th, but I didn't read that right. So then my lace is done in the 3rd color, even though it should be done in the 4th, but I'm happy with that because I actually really wanted the green to be the lace anyway. I thought the brown might be a little too dark. And then you start striping, and then you see here, you start decreasing and working your way that way. So I just got to fill in that empty chunk down there, and then it'll be done, and I can block it. And I put in an order for patterns so that we can start carrying kits with this and start having it as a sample if I stop snagging stitches on my needle. Anyway, it's like a blanket. It's like a schlanket, y'all. It's almost 4 full skeins of fingering weight in there, so. But it doesn't hurt when you're wrapped in cashmere, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. All right, so let's keep moving. Last but not least, I'm not going to show you my granny square blanket today. I did finish out a row, but I just don't feel like, I just don't feel like it. But last but not least is Blend on the Water by Callie Monster. I'm using the Uncommon Thread Merino DK in Arkham Asylum, Into Dust, Wilted Rose, and Aged Merlot. What you eating? What you eating? They're eating something, but I can't find out. Oh, they're just relaxing back here. I guess there's nobody in the other room to keep them company. So I've started transitioning I've transitioned into the 3rd color. I'm about to just work with the 3rd color. I did buy a 40-inch needle this weekend because I think this is a 32. I was trying to transfer or to connect 2 ChowGoo cables with a connector, and the connector broke in the 2 cables. I was able to get one connector piece out, but the other one has broken the cable, so I've contacted ChowGoo. They are supposed to be replacing that for me, which is very nice. So here I am. And again, it's a lot of stitches on a too small of needle. So the first color, the gray with some very subtle speckles, it's almost hard to see, especially when it's knit out. That's Arkham Asylum, and then it transitions into Wilted Rose. No, I'm sorry, into Dust, and then this is Wilted Rose, and then the last color it's going to transition into is Aged Merlot. So, liking this, it's a 4-skein DK weight shawl. And I really like the slip stitch technique that helps to give that kind of pixelated color blending. Heinz blend on the water. Her original was blue, so it kind of lent itself to the name Water. All right, so that's all that I have been working on since we spoke last. In rehearsal for myself, I picked up a pattern while I was at the Fall Harvest Days Fiber Festival, and I picked this up from Bewitched Pigments, whom I've had the pleasure of meeting at several shows since last year. I think we first met at Yellow Springs, Young's Dairy, Yellow Springs, Ohio, last fall. And then we've met at Stitches events. But she carries this pattern and sample in her booth, and she was wearing it one of the days, and I got mesmerized by it. And it's got tons of slip stitches and mosaic, and that is City on the Lake by Monica Bold, and it looks like this. So it is a 4-skein, 3-color DK weight shawl, asymmetrical. You can see the schematic right there. And yeah, so I really liked that, but I was not wanting to do stash enhancement as in spending money. So I might have shopped my own booth. That's all right. But you'll see that in stash enhancement. All right, let's move along. Behind the scenes, my spinning. I am currently still spinning some Hidden Valley Farm and Woolen Mill. Excuse me. 75% Coopworth, 25% mohair roving in the Cypress Moss colorway. Some of the oldest fiber that I have. This is dated back in Ravelry Stash to 2011. This is what I have left spinning-wise of it. Oh, it broke off from what I was spinning. Well, that's good to know. But I did finish the first 4 ounces. This was an 8-ounce bump. And it looks like that. You can see there. I mean, I love how huge these Hansen mini spinning bobbins are. You can easily fit 8 to 10, if not 12 ounces on these, because I mean, that's 4. So I can easily do an 8-ounce bump now, which, you know, things like loop, which I've done now, I couldn't do before at all on my Ashford Kiwi, which I did sell last month, because their bobbins were so small, you could barely fit 4 ounces on it. So it opens up a lot more of what I can do by having the larger bobbins. All right, in the scene shop, my cross stitch and weaving, I'm not going to show you anything. I'm slowly but surely making progress on all of that. But again, not enough to take it off the stands or anything. So, but I'll let you know when those are done and show those off to you. Now I got floof in the air. So let's move into the spotlight, shall we? Let's sit back, have a drink, talk about some entertainment. I've actually been doing some TV watching. I finished Dead to Me, Season 1, which stars Christina Applegate. Really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed her acting. And I highly recommend that show if you're on Netflix. Boys. Andy and I did finish the Umbrella Academy Season 1. Well, it was definitely cheesy and had a lot of plot holes. We did enjoy the ride. It is based off of a comic book. So I'd say give it a try, but we enjoyed it, and Season 2 is a go. We started Mindhunter Season 2, which stars Jonathan Groff. I really enjoy him. I enjoyed him in a very short-lived series on HBO called Looking. Unfortunately, that did not make it any farther than 2 seasons. but I'm enjoying him in Mindhunter. So we're taking that a little bit slow. I think we've only watched 3, maybe 4 episodes of that. And then last night I finished What If, which stars Renee Zellweger. Enjoyed that. Again, not the best writing or acting. Renee Zellweger does a decent, pretty good job taking on the role that she does. Some of the supporting actors are lackluster a little bit, but it was an interesting story, and I have no idea if they'll do a season 2. I did a quick Google search, and the director or producer or whatever said if they get a chance to do season 2, they will probably do a whole nother storyline, and in the hopes of casting some of the same actors a la American Horror Story. So it's a completely new storyline, but the same actors taking on new characters. All right, so let's move into stash enhancements. So I wasn't perfect, right? I mean, I try to be good, but every now and then. So while at the Michigan Fiber Festival, I got to chit-chat with the ladies of Cornbread and Honey. I didn't even really get their names. We just were chit-chatting and hanging out in each other's booths throughout the weekend. One lady is the dyer, the other one was her friend, and helped her out in her booth. I was kind of eyeing some of her yarn. She's really good at doing fades, but nothing was truly speaking to me. And then I found a pattern to use this mini skein set for. So Joji Locatelli came out with a pattern for Jimmy Bean's Wool's Advent Calendar last year, which uses 7 minis and 2 full skeins of yarn. So I picked up this mini skein set because she does sets of 7. And this is in her Find Your Fade mini skein set, fingering weight 75-25 superwash merino nylon, 93 yards in each. And this is in the colorway Sangria. So it goes from this nude with like pecan brown speckles, and then slowly works in this kind of Merlot Cabernet colorway. And so I'm going to pair this with our black walnut colorway, and then our black walnut dyed at a double intensity, I think, and I'm going to knit that wrap when I get the chance sometime in the future. So I picked that up, and then while we were at the Fall Harvest Days Fiber Expo, we got to meet a brand new vendor who had never vended before, and she makes project bags. She does not have a website yet, but she was working on it. So I can give you her company, but there's really no way to check her out. But Andy really liked her, and we were like, we should go support her, especially because it was a really slow show. So I went over on Saturday, the last day we were there, and I picked out a project bag. Her company's name is Heavenly Textiles, and she does project bags in 2 different styles. She had a drawstring kind of, on-the-go purse type bag, and then this zippered bag with a nice, again, handle that you can actually put and walk and knit. I picked it up with these cute little llama on them, and then the blue on the bottom, and it has a kind of a yellow gold, same checker print on the inside. So picked that up for my next project. And then, what else? Last but not least, I told you I shopped my booth, right? So I wanted to make this, and I was bored, so I was like, let's find yarn to make this City on a Lake shawl. And so I went over to our DK, and I picked out 2 skeins of our heirloom for the main color, because you need 2 skeins of the main. Let me hold it up. That's truer to color. And then I picked up Gothic Queen to go with it. And my last color is Blue Steel. So that's going to be that shawl. And I will eventually knit it as a shop sample. Eventually. Don't ask me when. All right, so moving on, we've got a giveaway this week, and this week we are giving away 3 skeins of Bouchalet yarn. I don't know how to pronounce it. I meant to look it up last week before we recorded and I forgot. and then I forgot it again. But this is Raised in Scotland by Kate Davies Designs. It's 100% wool, raised in Scotland, made in Yorkshire. Each skein is 50 grams, 120 yards, so approximately worsted to DK weight. You have these three colors. So the first one here is Parmigian. This one is Highland Coo. And then the blue is something Between Weathers. So I thought this would be really cool to do some like color work, mittens, a hat, something of that nature, 3 color, 150 grams. So if you would like to be entered to win these 3 skeins, we've already had the giveaway thread up on the Ravelry group, but if you have not been to the Ravelry group lately or are not part of our Ravelry group, search on Ravelry groups for Dramatic Knits Video Podcast, and you will find our group. Click join, and you will be eligible to win. And then you have to go find the thread that says Bouchalet Yarn Giveaway, and you must answer to the prompt, but only once. You only get 1 entry. And each episode we have a different giveaway with a prompt. And this episode's prompt is, what fad did you never really understand? And there have been some really good ones in the thread lately. The fad that I never really understand is the hanging of the pants completely below your rear end. I talked about this last time we recorded, but when I was in high school, it was cool to not wear a belt and let your pants sag, but you let your pants sag like that much. That was risque. You let your pants, and you didn't show it off. It was like if you bent over, right? You showed your like band of your underwear, not everything. So I don't understand that fad. I don't understand guys who have to walk around holding their pants up just so that they can hang past their rear end. So, go on over to our group. Tell us what fad you don't understand, and you could be entered to win those 3 skeins of lovely wool yarn. Moving along to inside the Knitter Studio, where you all get to ask me questions, and I go through them in order, and eventually I get to all the questions, and you can ask me anything as long as it's relatively appropriate. If you have to question if it's relatively appropriate, it's probably not appropriate. And while I'm okay with that in one-on-one conversation, probably should keep it PC on the podcast. So, this episode's question comes from Sam Ash Williams 94, and it's a 2-part question. The first one, she said, what is a non-fiber related rabbit hole that you fall into every so often? Because my livelihood and life now revolve around fiber, there is not much else to it. Of course, you know my background in theater. That is where the name of the podcast comes from. That is what I went to school for. That is what I was doing in all my spare time before I really got into knitting. And then even as I was slowly knitting, I was still doing theater. Unfortunately, that's taken a backseat with the career path that I've now chosen. I do not have time to partake in theater, which is a little sad, but also I really love what I'm doing. So I'm completely happy doing what I'm doing. So theater, singing, performing, my voice has gone to crap as of late. I don't practice it. It's a muscle. So, but that was definitely something I did dabble in. But that's about it. The second question she had for us was, do you have someone, fiber related or not, that you look up to? And it's funny, Mandy and I had a discussion about this, that, really no one in particular jumps out to us. And I had to say, as cheesy as it sounds, I would have to say the one person that I actually do look up to is Andy, is my partner. My partner in life, my partner in business, my partner in love, happiness, prosperity. As can be said from everyone comes from different walks and backgrounds in life. And while I had a very good upbringing in childhood, there were things that were not great. on many different levels. And, I grew up to be the person that I am now. And while he has fallen in love with that person, and I'm very grateful for that, and I've fallen in love with him, there are things that I also need to work on in terms of, being a better human, being a better person overall. And through interacting with him and getting to know his background and getting to know his family and what another family looks like from the inside, which I had never had before. And really, you might say I had a full family, but I only had one parent. I had a single parent household. And while there's nothing wrong with that, it is very one-sided. And so seeing a multifaceted family and seeing how he was raised and his beliefs and his upbringing opened my eyes to a lot of different things that I wanted to work on within myself and how I interact with people. And it's still a long road I've got to go on some of the things. And that's, any of the issues we might have there, it's on those communication skills, right? Of communicating and being able to work alongside one another, not just in business, but in life. And so he is a very patient man, much more patient than I am. So, yeah. Not to get all cheesy, sappy, and weepy on you, but there you go. All right. So let's move along, shall we? Let's move into a round of applause. But first, let's take our drink. Have you made a pink drink yet? You should. No joke, I'm thinking about bringing some to the retreat, but I know I won't have enough for everybody. Plus, we're going to have a cash bar, but I've been like, maybe I'll bring some to the room. Who's kidding? I'm going to bring some to the room so that when I get away from people, because, I'm an introvert. Really, I am. So when I'm extroverting all day and working at the retreat, which I'm going to love, but I'm going to want to go back to the room and decompress and have my pink drink. Moving along before I get side tangent again. A round of applause. Last episode, we were giving away a copy of More Last Minute Knitted Gifts. And this is by Joelle Hoverson, which is funny because I have last minute knitted gifts in my stack to give away. I should have done them in order, but that's okay. And so the prompt last episode was, what really cheesy song do you love? And I pulled for this over a week ago, and the winner was number 14, I Now Hour, who does not have a name or a location on Ravelry. But they said, my cheesy song is Who Let the Dogs Out? There's just something so catchy about it, even though it's really cheesy. It is catchy, isn't it? Right? Totally. So, congratulations, I Now Hour. If you would, please email me, Dramatic Knits, on Ravelry, with your first and last name, mailing address, and email address so that I can send you tracking when your prize ships. And I'll get that out to you as soon as possible. Moving right along, actually it worked out well that we recorded a week later because it is now September, and that means August has come to an end, and we can pull for prizes for the August 2019 Race to the Finished Object Contest. Another perk for being part of our Ravelry group is that whatever you finish in a month, you can post a picture per finished object and get entered into drawings every month. We always have a physical prize as well as a pattern prize from our featured designer. This month, our physical prize is two 50-gram skeins of Lorna's Laces Shepherd Sock in the Shadow colorway. This was generously gifted to us by a benefactor of the podcast. And I just untwisted this. So I just pulled for this winner tonight, right before I recorded. And lo and behold, would you not know that the winner of these two skeins, was number 176 in the August 2019 Race to the Finished Object Contest thread. Do you know who number 176 is? it is I, now, our, who won the book that I pulled for last week. So, whomever you are, I, now, our, you not only won the book, you also won 2 skeins of shepherd sock from Lorna's Laces. So this will be going to you all together. And who knows, maybe you can find something to knit out of this book with this yarn. Wouldn't that be amazing? So congratulations, you were very lucky. All right, the next prize for our Race to the Finished Object contest is a pattern from our featured designer, who is Jen Lucas of Jen Lucas Designs. Jen has a multitude of books in her repertoire, including the One Skein Shawls book, or Sock Yarn Shawls book, volumes 1 and 2, top-down shawls, as well as many others. She also self-publishes many, many wonderful patterns. She's also an Illinois native as well, or currently resides in Illinois. I shouldn't say I know where she's from, but she currently resides in Illinois, so there's that. But she's graciously agreed to be our featured designer. So the winner of one of Jen's patterns, self-published patterns that she can gift to you on Ravelry, is number 119, and that is B Wing from Brittany in Illinois, whom I've met several times at the Knitting Pipeline retreats, which unfortunately I saw is not going to be taking place anymore in February. But Brittany, you won a pattern. So congratulations, Brittany, also from Illinois, keeping it in the house. You win a pattern of your choice. If you would, please just private message me on Ravelry and let me know what pattern of Jen's that you would like, and I'll let her know and she'll gift it to you as soon as possible. So, by the way, I did not mention, I Now Our knit a baby dress, and B-Wing Brittany, she did a granny square dishcloth, crocheted that. So, we want to remind you to enter anything you finish in the month of September, no matter what it is, into the September 2019 Race to the Finished Object contest. You can double dip with any knit along, craft along, crochet along, whatever along. Hand spun counts, weaving counts, crochet, knitting. I wouldn't really say sewing probably because it's not really a fiber craft. I mean, it's a craft, but you know what I mean. So, but you can enter anything you finish into that thread. You must be a member of the group. 1 post per finished object. Each finished object gets you an entry into the thread. So the more finished objects you have, the more entries you get for possibility of prizes. So we'll have a prize next month as well as another pattern from Jen. So go on over there, enter, win. All right, let's move into center stage, all things Leading Men Fiber Arts. So funny story, I forgot last week to bring the new colorway for September. Amanda had to stop by the studio to pick up a skein and the swatch. I then forgot to bring them again tonight, but that's okay. It's already up in the shop. You can see it on Instagram, Facebook, the website, the Ravelry group for Leading Men Fiber Arts. But our brand new colorway for September is called Welcome to the Jungle. It is a beautifully massage speckled colorway of electric lemon, extreme blue, and twilight gray. And it is beautiful, and you can pre-order it on any weight we have, any yarn base, in any quantity you want now through the 8th. It'll ship out by the 18th. We also have pre-orders available for our classic and shorty sock sets, which either come with a 100 gram or a 50 gram skein of the colorway, and then a 20 gram coordinating mini, which this month's coordinating mini is that electric blue, which is called Wind Chill. And then we also have pre-orders for our bags from the Silver Shed USA. We have mediums and extra larges available. The extra larges come with a crossbody strap. And we have 2 fabric options. You can either get the knitted fabric options, which have the knit print on the outside and then the reverse stockinette on the inside, or you can get the beauty shot option, which is a beauty shot of that glorious yarn laying in its own yarn bath. And then on the inside, it's like a clear linen, or not clear, just cream linen, or some sort of fabric. I don't know. I'm not all that jazzy and fancy about fabrics. But you can pre-order those bags there, and then I let Anne know on the 8th, and she gets those out to me as soon as possible. So our retreat is coming up in 2 weeks in 3 days. It's crazy to believe, but it's happening. So, Knitting at the Estate, the first ever, is taking place at the Allerton Retreat and Park Center, or Allerton Park and Retreat Center in Monticello, Illinois. Wow, I always get to the end and I just start jumbling my words. But that is going to be September 19th through the 21st. We are hosting 72 lovely crafters from across the country to our little neck of the woods in central Illinois. Monticello is about a 35-minute drive from where I'm at, but it's literally in the middle of nowhere. It's like 10 minutes away from the actual town of Monticello, and it's a 150-acre estate with 14 formal gardens, a mansion, a reflecting pond, thousands of statues and different artworks, and it is beautiful. And we are going to have two wonderful teachers there, Gail Zucker, who is mostly known for her photography of knitting books and knitting designs, but she also does design herself. We also are going to be hosting Laura Linneman, known of Knit Girls fame, and she will be teaching some knitting classes for us as well at the retreat. We are going to have a open air concert in the park on Friday evening. We didn't schedule that. That has just already been scheduled in the park. So, step outside, you get to hear the music. Saturday night, we are going to have a murder mystery with a 1920s silver screen theme. So if you're coming, plan accordingly. Costumes? Maybe. I won't say that I'm going to dress in a costume, but if you want to, go on. We are going to have massages on site on Friday and Saturday morning. There is a schedule on our Ravelry group, Knitting at the Estate, where you can sign up for a massage. They are 15-minute chair massages. You can sign up for more than 15 minutes, but it is $20 per 15 minutes. We are having two ladies local to us right on the square where our studio is coming in and doing those massages. We do have 9 off-site spots still available. However, those are going to be closing down tomorrow. We have a meeting with the event coordinator at the retreat center tomorrow, and we will be giving final numbers for food and all that stuff. So if you haven't signed up now, go on over to leadingmenfiberarts.com where you can purchase the off-site spot. Nab it if you can, but if it's not there, I'm sorry, you'll have to wait till 2020. Which we are hoping will be happening. Any emergencies, fingers crossed that don't happen. We are already planning to do it in 2020, in September sometime. And yeah, we are still going strong with our hat drive that's going on over there. But if you're local, within a couple hours drive from Central Illinois, I highly recommend you come on down on Saturday, September 21st. Yes. The retreat ends on the 22nd. Saturday, September 21st, we are having an open market for attendees and to the public from 1 to 4 p.m. in the mansion on the main floor. And we are going to have 15 wonderful vendors plus Leading Men Fiber Arts. Vendors from all over the Midwest, North and South, East and West. Self-striping, gradient, hand-dyed yarns, woodworkers, project bag makers, bead people, a lot of different people coming. But yeah, we're super excited. So yeah, we hope you'll join us. It is free to get into the market. If you have any questions, just go to knittingattheestate.com. It has the location and the market vendors there where you can click on their logos and it'll take you to their shop so you can do some pre-shopping. All right, last thing I need to cover is upcoming shows. This weekend, we have a trunk show at Yarns Untold in Lisle, Illinois. They're a relatively new shop. Lisle is in my neck of the woods where I grew up, just a couple suburbs away from the town that I grew up in. So kind of going back home to my own stomping grounds. Maybe I can convince Sandy to drive out Friday night and go look at my old house. I don't get to do that very often because we're never up there. He grew up in a lot of different homes within the towns that his parents live in. So we've been past his childhood homes several times. But he also moved around a lot. I was in one house my whole childhood. So we've only ever driven by it once in the 12 years we've been together. So, but yeah, Yarns Untold will be setting up on Friday afternoon. I believe they may have some sort of knit night on Friday, an event. We may be there for that, but we'll definitely be there on Saturday during their normal business hours for our trunk show. We're bringing everything we normally bring in our booth, minus project bags, stitch markers, and shawl cuffs. But any of the yarn, kits, all that jazz is coming with us to the trunk show. So if you're in the Lisle or Southwest Chicago suburbs, come on out and join us. We'd love to see you and say hi. We'll be there all day for a meet and greet, as well as to help with, color and yarn consultations. And then the following weekend, we have a weekend off. It is the weekend before the retreat, and we purposely did not schedule anything. We could have, but we didn't, because we are going to be prepping like the dickens. We went through all of our prizes and donations today and separated things out for door prizes, mini skeins that go in all the mini skeins that go in the goodie bag, all the stuff that goes in the goodie bag, and all the coupons that go in the goodie bag. Y'all, we have over 2 bins of just mini skeins that need to go in the goodie bag. 2 bins of mini skeins. Y'all are going to get like a bag this big of mini skeins. Just saying. Hope you got a mini skein project or a memory blanket going. Because if not, you'll be starting one at the retreat. Anyway, I'll see you on that weekend. I will record the weekend before the retreat, so you'll see me hopefully not all stressed out. But until I see you again in 2 weeks, I hope you knit something dramatic.